Buffer. What's up, Retroheads, and welcome to Talk Retro, the audio podcast for Retro Magazine. I am your host, David Gilton, and with me is my partner in crime, Robert Workman.
You know, I look at your hat and I just want to go, okay!
Should I just throw it to the side right now just for visual effect?
Yeah, you don't lose it, dude. Besides, you're wearing a headset. It's going to come off, then we delay the show. Just move on.
That's true. Hey, come on.
I spiritually did it, so it's all good.
Exactly. And with us is a very, very special guest, Miss Queen Retro herself, as I like to call her, Kinsey Burke. So,
hey, guys.
Why don't you introduce yourself there, Kinsey?
Well, I'm Kinsey Burke. Probably just know me from Metal Jesus Rocks. I'm on there a lot. I also do PR for Seattle Retro Gaming. So, yeah, I'm around in the video game world. I like that Queen of Retro Gaming, though. I think I'm going to keep that.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, every show I see you at, you're always, roaming around the retro stuff anyway. So I'm like, yeah, it fits you.
Yeah. You pretty much have the retro Seattle location down pat, pretty much.
I mean,
yeah. Well, Seattle is awesome.
Yeah. Before the show, she was telling us about this arcade that actually has what was it? The Point Break wall with Patrick Swayze and a bunch of pinballs, along with a Star Wars mural. There you go. And I was telling him that down here at the One Up Colfax here in Denver, we have a mural on the wall right before you go to the bathroom of King Hippo doing just start to look and everything like that. And, so that's perfect thing right before you take a poop.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, if you guys have been to Ground Control in Portland, I think they have the best bathrooms ever.
Oh yeah,
so.
Ground Control is an awesome place. I love that place. I want to go back one of these days. And Voodoo Donuts again.
I visited the IGN office in San Francisco before, and their bathroom actually has a big plaster of gum from Jet Set Radio on there, so that kind of has my heart. And being a huge Jet Set Radio fan myself. So.
My bathroom, I think all I have is the Marvel vs. Capcom Origins poster, but that's because I didn't want to put too much stuff in the bathroom where my guests would just be in the bathroom for hours on end. I'd be like, get back out here. You know what I mean?
That's
one poster is enough.
That's how you know you're running out of wall space for your posters. If you have to put them out in the bathroom.
Put them out in the garage. Yeah. What garage?
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to say I win then, because my bathroom, I have a stack of magazines, and they're all gaming magazines from the late 80s, early 90s.
Oh, I have a ton of game fans in my bathroom, so I know what you're talking about.
I don't know if the girlfriend would appreciate me putting retro magazine issues in the bathroom.
What are you reading? Well, they're not Playboys. She can't yell at you too badly. Come on.
That's true too. Yeah. Speaking of which, we did recently release some the covers actually for the latest retro magazine issue number 10. That's actually coming out next month in January. So the covers were for both both celebrating for first-person shooters as well as Star Wars, which is basically going to be what this double packed issue is going to be covering. So it's pretty cool. So the first-person shooter cover has the likes of James Bond and Duke Nukem and a whole bunch of other people. I think Gordon Freeman's in there too. It's a really, really cool cover. But even cooler though, I would say, is the Star Wars cover where we have Princess Leia. Playing with a Game Boy with the peripheral, no less, with the light up peripheral thing. I forget what it was called, but there's a little light up peripheral.
Like a transformer.
Yes, exactly. It looked like a transformer holding in her hand.
His mind.
Yeah, and a whole bunch of Star Wars and retro gaming peripherals all around her, inside the Millennium Falcon. It's just freaking awesome, and including
it's like the Guardians of the Galaxy ship when you have the old tape player and all these little '80s toys just sitting around.
You got it. And even the O in retro is the Death Star itself, which is pretty freaking awesome.
That is cool. Yeah, I contributed a lot to this issue. I did a write-up on Rogue Leader for GameCube. Also did something on GoldenEye, despite the fact that everybody insists I screen cheat. I don't know why, just because I'm so good at it. And also did something on the new Doom, which is coming out next year. Very cool looking game. If you guys played the alpha, I don't know if you did, but it was very cool for the couple days it lasted. And I'm sure they're going to have another one before the game comes out spring, summer. So definitely look forward to those previews that I wrote up.
Sweet. Awesome. So along with that, that's not the only retro-related news we have here. We also recently announced that we made a partnership with Coleco, the same company that brought you the ColecoVision. So the company itself was revamped in 2005, and they're kind of looking to get back into the hardware space. They came out with some handheld. I know I forget the name of it off the top of my head, but
I know which one you're talking about. Yeah. But this is the new system. This is actually what the Retro VGS has evolved into, the Coleco Chameleon.
Yes.
Interesting name, by the way, because it actually doesn't change colors like a chameleon. But it is a neat little suave design and everything like that. But I mean, obviously, it's a great way for the system to get back on the ground. You know, we have a good company backing it, Coleco, because obviously, if you grew up in gaming like myself, like Kinsey, like you, Dave, we know the name Coleco inside and out. So
absolutely,
that's a good brand to go off of. Now I'm just curious to see what kind of games it plays, because according to the description, it'll play the classic games of old. So I'm wondering what kind of support we're talking about here. Downloadable? Are we talking about the actual Coleco cartridges? As the details come about, I really want to learn more about it.
Yeah, I mean, like, as far as I know, like, we're still kind of sticking with, like, the original Retro VGS vision of having, like, these cartridges, basically. And all the games will be very much fitting within the 8-bit, 16-bit, 32-bit eras.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like cool. Like, so we'll see like a lot of like a lot of like indie games that come out like people kind of making like their own original games to harken back to that old age.
Yeah.
But even like I know like we're even kind of working out like to possibly bring on board like some older IPs too.
Yeah.
To hopefully kind of get like some newer versions of older IPs. I know personally.
Yeah, just bring back. I would love to see, because wasn't it a while ago that the team behind Boogerman was trying to bring him back for Boogerman 2, and that Kickstarter kind of failed. Wouldn't it be great if Coleco and our team actually worked with them to bring Boogerman 2 to the Chameleon?
That would be freaking awesome.
I wouldn't even have to do this. None of this crap.
It's a pick and flick adventure.
Right.
Best tagline ever.
Yeah.
No, that's a tagline from the original game, though. So
yeah, exactly.
We're back to flick some more.
Right. Keep on flicking, folks.
But yeah, more details on the Chameleons. They're going to be available over the next few months, and we'll see what happens from there. I wish, obviously, the team the best of luck. Mike's got a good concept on his hands. I hope it really, really picks up.
Absolutely. It's looking very good with the
Speaking of which, before we get into what are we playing, I noticed this. Some sort of weird website for Project Dream and all these whispers about a Dreamcast 2.
That's true.
I don't think Sega is going to be behind it, but they have a bunch of engineers who worked on the Dreamcast who are trying to do this PC/console hybrid. I mean, we could talk about it more next week, but once the Project Dream site actually reaches zero and we know what the heck it is, but it sounds really interesting because you both know the Dreamcast was like this big, vital system in bringing our system to bringing our game industry into a new generation. It was the first system to really connect online with its little plug-in jack. It introduced next-generation visuals with games like NFL and NBA 2K, stuff like that. And hell, I mean, I'm the DCD. Part of that's Dreamcast Drunkard.
There you go. Yeah, and
there you go.
The Dreamcast is admittedly my favorite system of all time as well. So we definitely have that in common. Just like a quick question for you, Kinsey. What's your favorite system of all time?
My favorite system?
Yeah.
Well, my favorite system to collect for is the Nintendo 64.
Okay.
But I think actually my favorite system is the original PlayStation.
Ooh.
Oh, okay. All right.
Nothing like the old school. And Nintendo 64 stuff, that stuff is collectible. Like, I was hunting down, like, what was it, Hydro Thunder 64, Ridge Racer 64. Like, the 4-player racing games are so good on that system. Couldn't get enough of. Of course, obviously, nothing beats Star Fox 64.
Oh, it's so good. That was, like, the epitome of, like, couch multiplayer, in my opinion. It was so fun.
Oh, yeah.
It was. Just the 4-player split screen. I mean, nobody did it better than Nintendo 64. It was amazing.
It was really like the wrestling games, like on the N64, that really did it for me. Like,
No Mercy and this blockheaded rock. Just
they were so fun, though.
It's just like the eyebrow like up and like just like that typical like rock face, but like in this like very like Minecraft shaped kind of.
If I could tell you how many hours I wasted on WCW NWO World Tour, we'd be here all day.
Yeah,
I love that game.
I would not help in trying to shorten that conversation either. Trust me.
Kids would be like, I do have to sleep, guys.
Right. How long is this podcast again?
It's going to be here a couple hours. That's it. Come on.
So just like a quick note again, like on the newly revealed Coleco Chameleon, there will be a demonstration of it at the Toy Fair in New York. Over at during like February 13th to 16th. So if you're like in the New York area, like around that time, definitely go to to the event, and you'll be able to be one of the first people to check out what the Coleco Chameleon is all about.
Yeah, I mean it's going to be a good time for anybody who goes to that show. Isn't that where the Retron 5 got revealed last year? Like a toy event like that?
I want to say yes.
Yeah, I don't have the exact dates and everything, but I think it was revealed at a toy fair, and that's where it really got the ball rolling in terms of introducing all its features. So it's a good opportunity for the Chameleon. I wish him all the best of luck, and maybe fly me out to New York to see it. Hey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you kind of need the people who talk retro to talk about the new retro console, right?
Yeah, Mike, come on.
Hint, hint.
I mean, it makes sense. It's all in the name. They might as well.
Might as well, right? I'm a good spokesperson for anything. Ask anybody.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So moving along to the show, we have our segment called "What Are You Playing?" which kind of gets.
Say it like a creeper. Just say, "What are you playing, guys?"
What are you playing, chaps?
It's like, are you trying to like sell me some bullets in Resident Evil? Like,
You got it. You got it. I mean, that's where I got it from.
So he admits it.
That's
So
enough
why don't we
cash.
since Kinsey is our guest and put up with a bunch of our shit for the first 20 minutes, why don't we let her go first?
Yep, absolutely. Go ahead there, Kinsey. What have you been playing?
well, I'm still like knee deep in Fallout 4. I'm like crazy obsessed with it. I'm barely anywhere in the story, but my settlements are amazing.
I saw your pictures on Facebook, like with what you've been like building and that. And like I personally don't have the patience to make these crazy lavish houses. But you really you really put like a new spin on the term fixer upper like in that game.
I made a whole bay just for all my power armor, and I can like walk through the aisles. And I'm just like, yeah, this is what I built, and it's amazing.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And, has there been anything else that they've been playing, or has Fallout pretty much like consumed your life lately?
It has. It's kind of sad, but it definitely has. I'm like well over 200 hours.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
No, you want to talk about sad. There was this dude who played Fallout so much, he lost his job, he lost his wife, then he opted to sue Bethesda.
I heard that.
I saw that.
What the
And
hell?
I was like, he stole my idea! I can't be the second person to sue them.
Thanks,
That was going to be my claim to fame. I was going to be the loser.
Maybe in the new year. Maybe in the new year when you start to be like, I haven't eaten in days.
If we had like a more gamer-focused version of Seinfeld, that would be the George Costanza moment right there. Right. Like, I lost my wife. I lost my job. I'm just playing Fallout. What happened to my life?
Oh my God, I'm George. No, I'm not gonna do it. That's what Kinsey would say.
That's amazing. So I'm sure that you have like a lot there, Robert. So I'll just kind of just throw in mine real quick.
Yeah, do yours real quick, and then I'll just run down mine real quick.
Yeah. So like admittedly with me, like Fallout 4 has basically consumed like most of my gaming time, I'd say. Although I'm trying to balance it out too with trying to beat Persona 3 on the Vita. Also, I've been playing a lot more of Mario Golf on 3DS. Like since I recently got the 3DS on Black Friday, Mario Golf is like surprisingly addictive. I just love the hell out of that game. It kind of brings me back actually to playing Outlaw Golf on the original Xbox. Like I used to love the hell out of that game. I'm not usually like a golf guy in general, like in real life or in gaming. But Mario Golf like definitely scratches a niche that I didn't think I had. Pretty much. So that that's basically been the epitome of my game, and just trying to do all that. And like since I have like a trip to Ireland coming up at the end of the year, I'm going to be doing a lot of handheld gaming in the near future. So that'll be a lot of fun. So
you know what? Fun trivia fact, real quick about Outlaw Golf. The announcer is actually Steve Carell.
Yes. Yeah.
Before he went on to win an Oscar and all that stuff, or get nominated for an Oscar and starring The Big Short and everything like that. I mean, it was just really cool to hear him. He's like, it's like your virginity. Once you lose it, you're never gonna get back.
Right. Like even like the announcement of like the characters' names in that game was like Killer Miller and like all that stuff. Like I've been watching like the Game Grumps lately, and like they've been playing like Outlaw Golf recently, and like that's where I kind of like learned that bit of trivia that you just dropped with Steve Carell.
Yeah.
So. That's insane.
And then, like, the sequel had Stephen Colbert.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That is awesome. Now I got to play those games again just to hear what all they say.
I'm a sucker for a good golf game, especially if it's like a sillier one like Outlaw Golf or Mario Golf, like not like regular like PGA Tour. That's not as much my thing. But
Tiger Woods go home.
There's this one I played. There's this one on PlayStation VR that I played at PlayStation Experience a while back called 100 Foot Robot Golf.
Yeah, I want to play that.
Ooh.
My God, it was. Go watch the trailer, Kinsey, because you're basically like hitting a ball, then trashing the city as you get to your ball.
Yeah.
It's like if Tiger Woods went on a bender and then grew 50 feet in height and then crushed
What? I like robots a lot.
You need to go look at the trailer. 100-foot robot golf.
This is your game.
And that's my Christmas gift to you, Kinsey.
I can't wait.
You definitely check it out. Yeah, like it kind of reminds me of like a cross between like golf and King of Monsters. Like,
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Actually, I saw it. I didn't play it. Sorry, I'm confused. I played so many PlayStation VR games. I was so mesmerized by Res Infinite. Sorry.
Yeah, it's all good.
You know how it gets. It fries your brain. You know.
So for you, Robert.
I don't have much. I want to just do really quick here. I've been playing some Trine 3, whatever the hell you want to call it. I call it Trine.
Trine.
Whatever. I've been playing that. Really good game from Frozen Byte. We're actually giving away a code on the show tonight. You're welcome, Internet. So be sure to redeem it and check it out. It's a good $20 value. Also, Amplitude came out for the Kickstarter backers. Harmonix funded it with Kickstarter, and they just released it this week. It's going to release January 5th for everybody else. But it's very cool if you're a fan of the original game, because they basically took like the visuals and cranked them up to 20. They took this great independent soundtrack featuring like the Freeze Pop and other different artists. It's not really, the AAA stuff that like you see in Rock Band, but it's still a great collection of tunes. And the gameplay, vintage Amplitude. The multiplayer mode is crazy too. You can support up to 4 players. It's kind of nuts. You like awesome. Beat each other up while you try to take over tracks. It's really cool. And Devil's Third. I've been shipping through this, and I'll tell you this. I think Nintendo shafted this game because they didn't know how to market it. It's a mature-rated game coming out during Christmas time, and they didn't know how to market it or anything like that. But I think it's mindless fun. It's like the Jean-Claude Van Damme of video games, if I have to say it. You don't have to accept its quality. You just have to accept it's a good time. So I'll leave it at that. Plus, the multiplayer is really good, considering that Nintendo doesn't really have like a military-based multiplayer shooter outside of the Call of Duty stuff. So, I mean, if you're looking, well, first off, if you're looking to get it for cheap, you might want to download it because it's $60 there compared to paying like $150 on eBay. And secondly, if you're just looking for some good mindless blood gushing fun. I mean, this is Tomonobu Itagaki and Valhalla Game Studios, so you're in for a bloody time. If you're looking for something like that, Devil's Third will definitely fit the bill. I do recommend it, and people are going to say I'm crazy. I don't give a damn. It's Christmas.
Yeah. Sounds awesome. Yeah, like I've only been hearing about this game just here and there on YouTube, like mainly from the Super Masters Play guys.
See, that's the thing. Nintendo didn't give it much of a push at all. They had one run at Nintendo World Store. It sold out quick. I think GameStop's only some of them even only got one copy. So they're going on eBay for $100, $150, everything like that. Nintendo's got no promotion for it, nothing on their YouTube channel, just a little something on their eShop channel. I mean, I actually talked with Itagaki about it a little bit. I'd be like, dude, they should have given this game better promotion. It was just, oh well, shit happens.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Before we move on to the rest of the show, we have a code to give away. So it's a code that I have to give away, actually.
You give it one, and then I'll give away one mid-show, and then we'll give away another one. You actually have one for Yakuza 5. You jerk.
I do. Ooh. Yeah. So definitely.
Yeah, watch. Kinsey's gonna redeem it.
Yeah.
I know. Just give it to Kinsey. You know what? Give the code to Kinsey, and I'll just.
The code will be up for grabs for all you RETROheads. Whoever grabs it first will be at the end of the show, so definitely keep an eye out for that, or keep an ear out for that, actually. This first code that I have to give away here is actually Armello. So this is a game that I recently got through an indie box.
Oh yeah.
Thing. So
this is that strategy-style board game, isn't it? Because it came out for PS4 too. It's actually really cool.
Yeah, so for people who don't know about it, like me, I'm basically just going to read off the back of the box they have here. Armello is a grim fairy tale board game come to life, full of swashbuckling adventure, combining deep tactical card play, rich tabletop strategy, and RPG elements. Wage epic single and multiplayer battles, cast spells, hire agents, and prepare poisons and ruses on your quest for the throne. And
now he really is trying to sell us something.
Like I say, you have me sold. I want to play.
Intrigued.
I'll tell you what, Kinsey, for being in our show, I've got a PS4 code for you. I'll give you after the show. How's that?
Oh, yay!
My
I like
Christmas gift
games.
to you, especially since David's shafting you on Yakuza and giving it to the fans. No,
With fans.
we love you guys.
Whatever.
It's fine.
I should be able to rig it by now. Come on. I win.
You
And,
heard it here first, folks. She sold.
also, as far as like an elevator pitch for this game, to Kotaku has a quote here calling it's like Game of Thrones only with animals. So it's kind of think of it like that. So this
Doesn't make my mind go to good places.
Jon Snow.
It's rated T-13. Come on, it's not that bloody. You guys are ninjas.
So the Steam code here for our Mellow is RWIX3LZA0C YY9Q5. So that's for our Mellow on Steam.
Yes, and you know what? It's Christmas. I'm going to throw. I have one more PS4 code besides the one I just gave Kinsey, so I'll give that out at the end of the show too.
Okay.
Merry Christmas, you fools!
Wow, sounds good. We are so
Festive for the
generous.
rest of us.
The Festivus for the rest of us. That's right. Are
I'm
we
not
going to
gonna
air
get my
our
underwear,
grievances?
though. I'm not going to get my underwear. I'm sorry. I have to.
I need like a metal pole somewhere in the background.
Yeah.
A
Sure,
pole
right?
would fit way better in my apartment than a tree, so.
That's true. Yeah.
Sounds like a Christmas request. Wink, wink.
So, moving on to the here, we have the stage of history, which goes into the to like a rapid fire discussion of the games that have come out in years past, like around this time of year. So, being like Christmas time, like there's been kind of like a like certain handful of games that really kind of struck out, but definitely some interesting ones. Starting off with the Oregon Trail. Now, we had I think we talked about Pong sometime recently, and that was like, I think that was like our oldest game that we mentioned before, 1975. This came out in 1971 originally, which like a lot of people might not realize, because like it was originally made as just like a solo program made by let me pull up the name here of the developer for that. He was like a teacher, Don Rowitz, from Carleton College. So he was doing like 8th grade history, and to kind of teach his class, he made this game. He made Oregon Trail. Which is basically like an adventure simulation title that was made basically to teach children about, quote, the realities of 19th century pioneer life. And
Boy, when they say reality, they mean reality. Your son is dead.
Right.
Give all that shit back. Your son is dead. You didn't hunt worth a damn, so your wife is dead too.
Right.
It's like, have fun at this game, you probably won't make it. Like,
Right.
I know, right? I swear, this is the only game is be like, how did I die to dysentery?
Yeah.
Damn it!
This game was Game of Thrones and Walking Dead
Dysentery.
before those shows, pretty much.
Or dysentery, however they said it. See, again, I don't care.
Exactly.
just die to something stupid.
So basically, the whole point of the game was like to lead a party of settlers, like on the Oregon Trail in the year 1848, and it was like most known for like coming bundled with like a bunch of like school computers. Like that's basically how I played. Like it was on like every school computer I played, and it also introduced us all to the wonderful term of dysentery, which is literally
It is dysentery. Okay, I said
Yeah.
it right.
dysentery. Yeah. Look it up. Basically, it's pretty gross. I won't say it on here. But, yeah.
Let's just
a lot
say
of
you melt
dysentery,
away. Yeah.
and a lot of snake bites, and
You're like, screw it, I'm going
Cholera?
back home. Forget Oregon.
Right. You lose your oxen every now and then. So.
And then your family starts dropping dead. I swear, they had this game on my school computers when I was a kid, the old Apple II models, and
Yep.
I swear to God, I don't think I've ever heard people get more depressed playing it. Like, I can't, I hunt worth a shit. I can't.
Well, I think a lot of that too.
Teacher!
I think a lot of that too is because you could name your party members. So like a lot of time, kids in school would just like name them after like other
They're
like
actual family
friends.
members. And of course,
Family members, yeah.
yeah, I'd always do it after all my friends. I'd be like, "Oh, sorry, Jennifer, you didn't make it."
Right.
sorry, David.
You like drown when we try like to ford the river.
Yeah.
And everybody gets swept away. I mean, like, no matter how much I fortify my wagon, there goes the wife.
Right.
Oh, that game. Do you want to take the time to build a raft? No.
Yes.
Oh, you all died.
Right. So I can take my chances. I think I can make it. Also, like the whole thing.
You could make it. Everybody else in your party is dead.
Right.
Sorry, wife. Time for a new life.
Yeah, that game, I probably played like the most like in my early like gaming years. Like that was like so much fun, and like just one of those like games that like. I would say that that's one of those games that really kind of got me into gaming, really, and inexplicably because of the fact that it was in school and like during like free computer time, that's what everyone played. So
Yeah,
and badly.
that's right.
Draft.
So moving on to the next game we have here in the stage of history is Final Fantasy. This is the very first Final Fantasy game. Came out in 1987 originally in Japan. I think it came out like 2 or 3 years later in the United States. This is an RPG by Square, obviously. But what some people might not know is that that Square was actually facing bankruptcy like when this game was being made. So the name of the game was kind of like a little ironic in that sense, like the Final Fantasy.
Yeah, very nice.
But because of the fact that the game became like a big commercial success, it was able to kind of lift the company back up to good standing to like where it's basically still around today, and the franchise itself is still as popular as it is now with Final Fantasy VII Remake coming out, Final Fantasy 15 being made, and all that. So
yeah. And plus, let's keep in mind that this game did introduce us to Hironobu Sakaguchi. He was the one who helped create it and develop it alongside his team at Square. And obviously, he stayed with the series for several years and everything like that. I think the only thing that really threw him off, which actually led to his departure, was that whole Final Fantasy The Spirits Within movie, which I think looked fantastic but didn't have storytelling worth a damn.
it looked great.
It did. But, then you have like Steve Buscemi saying, "What's with her and that stupid plant?" And we're gone.
Yeah.
I still don't think I know what that movie's about.
I don't either, but it looks great, doesn't it? I mean, I bought the Blu-ray just because it looks so goddamn great. But anyway.
I remember when that came out, and I was like, are those real people?
Right,
yeah. It was like back in a time when computer animation was just getting like the hang of things at the box office, back when Shrek was out, back when Toy Story was out, and it just looked unreal for its time. But by the same token, they had a Hollywood writer come in instead of actually having Sakaguchi or somebody look over the story, and I'm like, you don't play Final Fantasy, do you? You really don't. But anyway, back to the game. I mean, the game it really helped pave the way for Final Fantasy's comeback. I mean, obviously Final Fantasy had its great share of fans, but it's when the series came to the Super NES that we got 2 and we got 3 that it really found its footing in terms of storytelling and in terms of gameplay. But Final Fantasy helped set that bar. And when it was out, it also had, the little maps and everything like that, had the little Nintendo Power issue that kind of helped you out with the battle screen and the dungeon maps and all that stuff. And for its time, back then people actually gave a crap, and printed out maps or whatever. Because these days you barely see it unless it's a collector's edition or something. And
this is like internet, really, like when people use the internet to find maps or strategies.
I know you had to call the 900 line to get help.
Exactly, yeah. Nintendo Power, help.
Damn it! You said you would help me through this dungeon.
Right.
I actually went back and played the original Final Fantasy after falling in love with the series in the 90s.
Yeah.
So I went back and played the first one in high school. I named all my friends, and they didn't all die like Oregon Trail. It was safer. And I still love Final Fantasy.
Awesome. Yeah, like Final Fantasy is just like just one of those franchises that is pretty much like here to stay. Very much like it's gone off for like so long, and it's just been so successful for the company. I mean that Square wouldn't be Square without Final Fantasy. Like that's just a matter of fact. So.
Oh yeah, and not to mention the fact that Remake is still going to sell a ton, despite the fact people are pooping all over because it's episodic or whatever. We don't even know what the format is.
Right.
They haven't finalized everything yet, and they're already freaking out. I'm like, guys, relax. It's gonna be fine.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, if they don't like it, they can go back and play the original.
Boom. There you go. Mic drop. Go back and play the original news.
Good night. That's it for Kinsey. Oh, she's out.
So moving on to another 1987 RPG is Phantasy Star, the original Phantasy Star by Sega. This was notable as being one of the first story-driven games released in North America. When it came out in North America a year later in 1988, and also featuring a female protagonist. That was also a big cutting edge back then.
And one other thing worth noting, it was the first game to really represent like how 3D dungeons were supposed to be made. Because when you went through the game and you went through the dungeons, it actually looked like you were going through. You weren't wandering on a top-down perspective, so you were actually going through in these 3D. I mean, this is well before Doom, introduced to the 3D realm as we know it. So it was pretty innovative at its time, because most RPGs were just the tops down, like Final Fantasy.
Yeah, because I had this whole like first person like kind of like viewpoint as you're going through like the dungeon and everything. It was like, really cutting edge at that time for sure.
Yeah, and the Master System needed all the games it could get against Nintendo. Let's be honest, and this was one of the
no, that's very true.
One of the premier titles, alongside their arcade ports and whatever, because that system was gone by, 90, 91? I mean, it continued overseas. I know it's still got a bunch of games in, like, the UK and stuff, but in the US it was dead by 90 by the time Genesis came out.
Pretty much, yeah.
But Phantasy Star really... That series also took off for a while there, too, because, there were sequels on the Genesis 2, 3, and 4, and then they brought out Phantasy Star Online for Dreamcast, which was, at the time, an innovative role-playing game because you could work with your friends, you could chat with them, and do, like, in-game, not emoticons, but, like, in-game conversation and stuff like that, and I've been keep hearing whispers that one of these days the game's going to come back, because I know they did a Vita version, but we've heard nothing about a U.S. release.
Yeah, I think that was like Phantasy Star Online 2, because that came out in Japan, but it never came stateside. So I mean, like I'm still waiting for that, because I was a big PSO guy. I love the hell out of PSO. Yeah. And I was one of those guys who made like my own emoticons. Like in that game before, emoticon was like a thing, really. Like I made the Kool-Aid Man. I remember. Yeah. I made like the Kool-Aid Man, and then like, I remember, like so every time I meet up with like my friends, like the first time I was like, oh, we're all connected, we're all ready to go, let's do like a party and everything. I'll do like Kool-Aid Man. It's like, oh yeah, let's like start the match.
You actually did the Kool-Aid thing. Oh yeah, or is that Macho Man? Oh yeah.
It's so close. Isn't it? It's so close. Like I'm pretty sure there's like a tfury.com shirt or something like that.
More than likely somewhere. Yeah, we'll find it. It's all good. But yeah, Phantasy Star really paved the way for Sega's role-playing, because they spun it off, too. They had, like, Shining Force. They had Shining in the Darkness on Saturn, if you guys remember that old school goodie. We just don't see that. I mean, we are going to see something soon. They are working on, what's the name of that series that they're bringing back? Because I know it was, like, Valkyria Chronicles.
Yes.
They're bringing that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, it just paved the way for better things to come with that company, and it's really cool.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So next game we have here now is Bonk's Adventure. Came out in 1989, 2D platformer, and yes, I know, Robert, I picked this game.
I loved it.
I picked this game explicitly for you because I know you are a huge Bonk fan.
Yeah, that doesn't mean I
Bonk.
Bang my head into the wall. But I did love this game because literally you had to use your head. He didn't have any sort of weapons or anything like that. He just used his head. You could spin him around to do like the little bop thing in there and everything like that. The thing that got me about his character, though, he used his teeth to climb the wall.
That's right. Yeah.
His dentist looked like, oh, what have you been chewing on? Granite, walls, stuff.
Right, dirt.
But no, it was really cool at the time because Hudson Soft and NEC, they really needed like this good killer app for the TurboGrafx. This was back at a time when the games were all over the place. For every Splatterhouse we had something weird or something like that, like Final Lap Twin. But then we got something like Bonk's Adventure, and it helped define the system. And then we obviously got the sequels, Bonk's Revenge. Bonk 3 I didn't think much of because by that time it kind of ran aground and relied too much on size, but it was still all right. I think the thing I really enjoyed is when it spun off into shooters with Air Zonk. That was a game. Yeah. I loved Air Zonk. I still do. Not Super Air Zonk. That sequel's but Air Zonk was really cool. But Bonk's Adventure helped lead the way. It was a fun little platforming game. And what's more, the NES version, which was released by Hudson Soft, very limited numbers, is one of the rarest NES games out there. If trying to find a copy is ridiculous unless it's a reproduction, because otherwise you're paying like what, $150, $200. And the quality is actually pretty good for the NES version. So.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I mean, like Bonk. I mean, it's like you said, like it was something that it basically became Hudson Soft's, and as well as like the TurboGrafx 16's like mascot, basically, because this is like back in the time when like platformers needed that like mascot character to kind of like drive sales. Basically, it's like, oh, like there's like that character again. Like they were able to kind of like just bank off that. So Bonk basically became like that character for Hudson Soft, along with like Bomberman and everything. But like Bonk really kind of became like that face like for that company for like a good while. And like also like a funny little note I found here when I was looking up the game was that the arcade version actually includes a female Bonk.
Bonk-S or something.
Bonk-S. Yeah.
How else are you gonna play 2-player?
Yeah,
exactly.
Oh, and another fun fact. A while ago, I did an article in Retro Magazine talking about how there's supposed to be a new Bonk game that was supposed to release for PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 a while back, but then
Yes.
Hudson Soft went out of business and the game kind of faded away to nothing. And I kind of explained why that's kind of a good thing, because the new Bonk didn't really represent all the stuff that we remember from the old Bonk. I mean, it had some of the same principles, but it just didn't. When I played it at one of the events a long time ago, it just felt like something was a little bit off. So.
Aw.
I would have liked to see Bonk come back. I mean, he did kind of come back. Sony and Hudson Soft released Bonk's Adventure for PS3 and Vita, so you can download it still on those systems. But I mean,
Yeah. And in Japan they had Hudson Collection.
Yeah.
Kind of like how we had the Sega Collection and stuff. I kind of wish we got those here, because I feel like Bonk didn't get quite as much love over here as it deserved.
Well, it's Konami, and I don't want to talk about Konami.
Damn it, Konami.
They ruined it. We'll get to the focus of Konami a little bit later.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And what's our final game in the stage of history?
The stage of history. So to wrap it up here, we got Gran Turismo, which is a 1997 racing game for the PlayStation 1. This has the distinction of actually being the best-selling original PlayStation game. With over 10 million copies shipped. I didn't even know this beforehand. It's oh wow, this is the best-selling game. It also became basically Sony's premier racing franchise, with over 10 sequels and spin-offs that came after it. So so that this has been a huge hit. It was basically what prompted Microsoft, when the original Xbox came out, to come up with Project Gotham Racing, because they were hoping that would be their Gran Turismo, with how successful this the Gran Turismo series has been.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's been talks lately, even for a new Gran Turismo lately. Hopefully get one on the PS4, but. It's all been kind of rumblings and rumors so far, but there's been a little bit of talk going around about a new Gran Turismo.
There's got to be one. They're going to do it.
Well, there is. Gran Turismo Sport. It was announced at Paris Games Week. That's not Gran Turismo 7, but they said it's one that's going to take advantage of the PlayStation 4 hardware. I mean, you've seen what these guys can do with PS2 hardware, PS3 hardware. They make these really sharp, well-polished racing games, and I think Gran Turismo Sport, when it comes out, is going to be cool. But one thing I wanted to note with Gran Turismo is Gran Turismo 2. This was one of the most highly anticipated racing games that came out there, but when it came out, when they released it, it was only 98% complete. If you remember that. This was at the time before you could download patches and finish the game, so they had to hurry and make finished copies and then swap them out. So.
Right, yeah.
But I guess they were in such a hurry to make the Christmas rush that they were it's only 90%. Who's going to notice?
Now, Kinsey, where does Gran Turismo rank for you as far as racing games of all time?
Racing game. Well, see, with me, I'm not huge into racing games unless it's Mario Kart or Chocobo Racing, which my heart will always be with Chocobo Racing, even though it's kind of horrible. But with me, when it comes to more the those kind of games, I'm really big on Burnout, actually. I know it's not quite the same, but Burnout is my sit at home, I just want to play a game that has no story, and it's just going to be fun, and I'm going to drink some beer. It's always Burnout.
You're a woman after my own heart. I'm going to have to say, to me, my big one in Burnout 3 Takedown. Because that introduced the aggressive side of driving, and I'm all of a sudden I got 30 cars I rammed off the road in one single run, and I'm
Road Rage mode is so good.
And Crash is good too. They need to bring it back, but Criterion's no, we're Need for Speed or something else. They're not Burnout.
Yeah.
No, Burnout!
Which is actually kind of funny, because we recently had developer Trevor Stricker on here, who recently made Jungle Rumble, and I got to check out his new game, actually, at this event called Playcrafting, which is kind of think of the Boston Festival of Indie Games, but less formal. Not BFIG is formal to begin with.
Right.
But all these kind of small time developers, for the most part, showing off their games. And here's Trevor Stricker, who's been around since the Dreamcast age, who showed off this game called Bad Dog, and it's basically just a mobile game on iOS or Android, whatever, where you are a dog inside of a car, and you basically aim where you want the car to go, and just zips off into traffic and just cause as much havoc as possible. So it's very much like Burnout Crash. Which is kind of funny because I feel like I gave him that idea because I've been telling him about like, hey, have you ever played Burnout Crash? Like, I've been wanting to see another game like Burnout Crash.
Ooh.
And he's just like, really? It's like, tell me more about this game. So like I sent him we had like a meeting and I sent him an email later. It's like, oh, here's that game that we were just talking about. And then a little bit later, like with this like event that had went on, he shows me Bad Dog. Is like, I think I know where you got this idea from. With this.
Like, that looks awfully familiar.
I wonder what it could be.
So that was a little funny kind of scene. That I was giving him like a lot of ideas too, like to kind of have it set like in Boston, so they can have levels like the Big Dig and like things like that. Like where it's like it's just like ample source for destruction, pretty much.
Nice. Hey, we need more games like that. I mean, I would love to see a game with level destruction like Burnout 3 or even Split Second. Split Second's destruction.
Oh, yeah.
Flipping ridiculous. Like all of a sudden blowing up half the level. I mean, it's just so good.
Especially with the reality TV kind of like that.
Oh, I know. And the fact that you use the track as a weapon instead of using turtle shells or some crap like that.
Right.
And it's really great in a strategic point. I still love that game, and we'll never see a sequel for it. But I wish it'd be nice. Oh well.
Never say never. Never say never.
Never say never.
Mm-hmm.
Kickstarter.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah, the ideas now, the gears in motion. So before we move on then to like the rest of the show, I believe you have a code there, Robert.
I do. I'm going to give away a code for Trine 3. I don't care. The new TRINE game for PlayStation 4. I do have a code right here. Feel free to redeem it. It's $20 value. First come, first serve. The code is KGB8MGNHCA7B. Again, that's for Trine 3. Yeah, you know what it is. But new one from Frozen Byte. Check it out. It's good adventure. You can swap between characters, really good puzzles to solve, really good action. I'm really enjoying it so far. This is probably the best Trine game today. I'm just going to say Trine. I don't care.
Trine.
It's not okay. If you're going to the bathroom, you're not going in a latrine, are you? No.
Well, good thing this game's not named after a bathroom.
Yeah, it's got the same spelling.
That might be the reason why it's Trine.
We should move on because we're going to be here 3 hours. Trine.
That's true.
It's already 2 against 1, though. So just saying.
Of course, David would side with you.
That's neither here nor there. We'll move on to the main topic of the show here, which is actually a story that broke out shortly after we recorded like our last show, which I kind of like cursed is like, why didn't we why wasn't this like a day like when we did record on Wednesday? Because this would have been like the perfect topic to talk about while it was hot. But like since it's like still around, we have to talk about this with Hideo Kojima partnering with Sony like for making like his new studio as well as like making his new game exclusive, at least console exclusive anyway, for PlayStation 4. Now, this is huge news, like especially like after everything that's been going on between Kojima and Konami, with not being able to go to the Game Awards and like before that with the whole like vacation, quote unquote.
But now he's officially out of his contract, and now he's officially on his own. And I love the fact that Sony housed the announcement, and Andrew House just sitting there giving the most loving look.
Yeah. with his very charming accent, I might add.
It was great. He did great. I'm not picking on House. That was awesome. But just Kojima coming forward, be like, the only thing he should have done at the end when he was talking with his announcement is say, "Fucking on me." Yeah, that would have been classless. Actually, in hindsight, it would have been funny though. But
yeah, definitely.
We don't know anything about this game. Just that Kojima Productions, they already started printing gear with the cool little skull robot head logo, I guess. I don't know what to call it.
That logo.
They already started printing up gear, and people are already buying the shirts. This is awesome.
It's such a cool logo. It's such a cool logo. Even if it had like no association, with Kojima or anything.
No.
It was just like a logo, like just a standalone logo with no connotation to it whatsoever. I think people would still buy it because it's so freaking badass looking.
Definitely.
It's like this like skull inside. Yeah, it's like the skull with like cyborg kind of thing, and with like a knight helmet like over it, like it's crazy.
Yeah, I know. But, I mean, this is a big get for Sony. Sony has been doing a lot more trying to establish its game audience. You know, they had the PlayStation Experience event. They're producing all these sequels that people want, you know, like Uncharted and Ratchet and Clank and all that stuff. And they're going after exclusives, big time, you know, indie and AAA.
Absolutely.
And getting a name like Kojima, especially after Metal Gear Solid 5, because that was a tour de force for his team. Konami really screwed him over on it, but whatever. This is just really a great opportunity for him to develop something from the ground up that Sony can call their own and really start to market slowly but surely and work toward their benefit. I mean, Sony's been firing all cylinders this year, and next year I wouldn't be damned if they even reached an even higher speed in terms of like catering to their audience. And Kojima's going to be a big part of that. E3, I wouldn't be surprised if we got like some sort of teaser trailer, no gameplay, but at least some sort of teaser trailer indicating what this project is.
Oh, I hope so.
Yeah.
What I'm hoping, a lot of people are talking about, he's talking about doing a survival horror thing. Not Silent Hills, but he's already talking possibly, this is reportedly, mind the quotes, he's talking to Guillermo del Toro on this project, which I think would be great, because we never got Silent Hills. We were robbed of Silent Hills.
We were, and like they
I
even after like, you know, PT and like Silent Hills got canceled and everything, you know, like Kojima and Del Toro have already been like talking about, like, you know, it's like, well, we still want to work together on something, you know, and like people weren't quite sure what, or even if anything was going to transpire with this, you know, with this like friendship like between them, but it looks like there is that possibility that, you know, it could happen. Now, with that said, and I'll let Kinsey like kind of start off with the conversation on this. What type of game do you think Kojima is working on for PlayStation 4?
Well, I do think and hope it's survival horror.
Yep.
I think I'm partly just like so like PT was so good. It was a demo with one stupid hallway, and I loved it. Like,
right.
And I know we're not getting Silent Hills. I understand that, but that's kind of what I want. And I haven't really played a really good survival horror in a while, so I'd also really like that, just because of how much I love Silent Hill. But I also heard some like rumors that he might be working on a movie with him too.
There's that discussion too. I heard.
You know, so it might not be a game that he's working on with him.
No, that'd be great, because I mean, like Del Toro, Crimson Peak, I think is one of this year's really underappreciated movies. I love the design and the atmosphere. It wasn't made to be a horror movie, and I think a lot of people like didn't really see that bigger part of it. I thought it was taken in as like this good serial drama sort of thing with a bunch of scares, and it worked pretty well like that. So, I mean, I'd love to see Del Toro and Kojima work on something, movie, game, whatever. I mean, Del Toro's already burned out in the game scene as it is, because everything he announces gets canceled.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
What was that thing he did with THQ? What was it? It's like some sort of Insane, and that got canceled.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't think
Insane or Insanity or something like that. Yeah.
As far as the game Kojima's working on, I'm going to follow Kinsey's lead and say survival horror, but I'm going to just throw this out there. What if Kojima was working on a Crash Bandicoot game? The mask would just be like...
Crash?
Yeah, just like, the mask would be like, you know, talking about the secondary thing. You must go and find this, whatever. Just
so
it's an idea. It's a wacky idea, but what if?
Oh, I kind of like it though.
Are you talking about like an actual an actual Crash Bandicoot?
Yeah, sort of like an action-based Crash Bandicoot, because, you know, Naughty Dog's busy with Uncharted 4 and supposedly The Last of Us 2 after. So, you know, what if Sony brought in somebody to bring in a whole new, fresh perspective on Crash, and it's Kojima? Just saying.
While that is intriguing, I'm not sure if they would have Kojima use his talents on a Crash Bandicoot game.
Dude, if you're going to bring him back, bring him back with a legend. You know what I mean? Just
wild
make
guess.
it interesting.
I'm just saying. But my personal guess, though, I think he's going to go back to that stealth action kind of genre, personally. But I think there's going to be like more of a story focus to it. Like, not that the Metal Gear franchise didn't have like a focus on story, but I think something a little more cohesive, something a little more understandable, probably. Like, I think this would be kind of like his chance to come up with like a whole new universe, something that, you know, is like, you know, really fresh, but like still is within the parameters of like what he is, you know, good at, which is that stealth action genre. I think there could be hints of like survival horror. I think there could be like some spooky horror kind of elements like to it, which would be pretty cool. I could see that happen.
Ooh, yeah.
Well, that's actually a neat idea.
But I don't think the game itself.
Yeah, just do a combination.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like I don't think the game itself will be survival horror, but I think it'll have elements to it in the storytelling. But the game itself will be just straight up stealth action.
Whatever it is, I mean, we're going to be all eyes on E3 because it's probably going to be announced there. You know what I mean? They're probably going to go all out and say what it is, but they won't show any gameplay, obviously, because it's going to take like several years. We won't see anything on it probably till 2017 or something like that, if that. It'll probably take a little bit longer, but we'll at the very least get the groundwork and get an idea of what we can expect. And like I said, my Crash Bandicoot theory, that's just out there, but you can't, imagine it like a new legend took over on an old franchise like that. It'd be twisted, and everybody would be talking, and I think that's the kind of hype that could build up something cool. You never know.
Yeah.
Look what happened when Retro Studios picked up the Metroid franchise. At first, everybody was like talking shit when you're like, first-person shooter, that's not Metroid. No. Then Metroid Prime came out and be like, oh.
Let's make this interesting here, Robert. If it is true, let's just say that Hideo Kojima is working on a new Crash Bandicoot game. Okay,
yeah.
New Crash Bandicoot. Like, it doesn't even have to be like a 3D platformer. It could be anything with Crash Bandicoot in it.
Crash Card. There we go.
Could be anything. It could be Crash meets like Metal Gear Solid gameplay. What's it say? Okay, it's like just for the sake of argument, it could be Crash anything.
Around in a crate.
Yeah, exactly. You got it. Have like apples fall out when he runs and things like that. But have it could be anything with like Crash Bandicoot. With Hideo Kojima. If that is true, I will buy you an original Bonk's Adventure card.
Sounds good. For NES, not the TurboGrafx.
For NES, yes. The collector, everything that that's like hard to get with that. So we'll make that.
All I can think about is just what this Crash game would be like. I kind of want it to be like a stealth game where Snake has a box. You could call it Crash in the Box, and I'd be like, yes.
That'd be cool.
Because I'm crazy. But
it'd be like Twin Sanity.
So I gotta send an email to Kojima real quick. I'll be back. Kojima, there's a Bonk's Adventure code on the line.
It's definitely really interesting to see see how this title turns out. I have a feeling. I don't know if we'll ever really get the full story as far as what happened between Kojima and Konami. Every time Kojima gets asked about it, he just deflects the question immediately. As soon as he just Konami without even finishing the work. It's like Konami, no, can't talk about it.
Yeah. Well, I think he signed an NDA to do everything. He can't talk at all. But that almost says that there's something more interesting going on because if he just left. There wouldn't be as many secrets around it, I feel like.
Exactly. Yeah.
Not to interrupt. Sorry. I was just saying. Supposedly he left a couple of months ago. He when Konami said he went on vacation, but he really he's like, screw this, I'm out the door. But he was still under the contract thing, and that's the BS that stopped him from accepting that award at the Game Awards. And the contract finally lapsed, and now he can finally do what he wants. But I think in the contract he can't talk about the crap they put him through or confirm if all these work conditions I've been reading about are true. But judging by how many people are leaving Konami, one producer that worked on the Fox engine just left to join another team. I would not be surprised if these stories were true. And we're not going to see anything from gaming now from Konami except maybe Pro Evolution Soccer and whatever they're doing with Metal Gear Solid. And I feel bad for whoever they sign for Metal Gear because they're going to probably have to work under the same conditions and be like, it sounds like the opportunity of a lifetime, but let the developer beware.
Yeah, even then, whoever takes on the Metal Gear project from here on out, because there have been reports about Konami hiring now for the new Metal Gear game. It's going to be an uphill battle for them, no matter what, with the fans, especially because the fans are just going to be like, that's not a Kojima game. This is fake Metal Gear.
Yeah.
That's how it's going to be viewed. Unfortunately, but it's going to be a huge uphill battle. I'll be interested to see what whoever takes on Metal Gear, what they do with Metal Gear.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I'm more intrigued by what Hideo Kojima is doing that's new. Because not even just because of the fact it's Kojima, but because of the fact it is something new. Because as far as I know, Kojima has been wanting to stop doing Metal Gear games since Metal Gear Solid 2.
And they wouldn't let him. I'm kind of glad in a way that he got Metal Gear Solid 3 out, but by the same token, then we got 4, then we got 5, and it just, you could just tell as many ideas he was implementing into the game. He was so. I mean, it was like, I would say it's like KJ Inafune, but he left Mega Man to work on Mighty Number 9, so that's no.
Right.
But, you know, some people just get tired of working on the same old thing. They want to try something new, you know? It's like, how many Gears of War games did Cliff Bleszinski go through before he said, you know what, I want to do something different?
3.
Yeah. Yeah.
And here's Lawbreakers, but you can...
Yeah. Exactly, yeah, but then they came out with like another Gears of War game without him, and
Yeah,
you
and
know,
it
just
worked
feels
out-
like they felt like, well, we gotta do
yeah.
another one.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
But I just think Metal Gear's kind of played out personally. You know, it's like Konami's still trying to rely on it a little bit, but I think we've seen everything out of Metal Gear that we need to. The only thing I'd want to see, if anything, is Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance 2. But that's just because I love Platinum Games. But you know,
Right.
I don't. If we do see anything, it won't be for a couple of years. And even then, if Konami signs a studio, they really need to get something in the contract saying, "You can't stop us from going to the Game Awards" or something like that, because that is just crap.
That's bullshit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like like I feel like as far as like Konami moving forward with the Metal Gear franchise, it would have to be something drastically different than from like the, you know, from the regular Metal Gear games. Like it would have to be something like a Revengeance or something that's completely different, like within that same universe.
Yeah, I mean, I'd just be happy with Snake making casual appearances like he did in Smash Brothers Brawl. You know, I'd be fine with that. Because you really can't top Metal Gear Solid 5. That was the tour de force for the series.
Well,
Yeah, and it's probably better to end
Metal
on.
Gear Solid was too,
Yeah.
but
yeah. I mean, for me, Snake Eater is like the pinnacle of that series.
yeah. I mean, we've already seen enough great games that we really don't need anything else from the Metal Gear franchise. Now we think about it.
Yeah, at least not for a good while. I feel
Yeah.
like, you know.
I can agree with that.
Of course, we'll probably get a Metal Gear pachinko machine.
I am absolutely. I'm
Probably.
I'm 90% certain of that. I'm 90% certain of that. What's your personal favorite Metal Gear game there, Kinsey?
So I'm about to break your guys' hearts.
Here goes.
I'm not a Metal Gear person.
What?
I know. Well,
Yeah,
I don't
Much
like
one either.
stealth games,
Yeah.
which is weird though, because if I play a game that I have the option to play like a sneaky assassin, then I'll be sneaky. But if it's like I'm like, oh, I have to sneak,
Okay.
No.
Well, you
You
don't
have a
put it
choice,
into a box per se, as well as literally. No. All right. Fair enough.
yeah, not a stealth game
Yeah, I
person.
mean, it's not my favorite series in the world either, but they do have some good entries in there. But like I said, I mean, if you're being forced to do stealth, stealth's not my favorite. Like, I kind of got turned off from the SOCOM series because I had stealth missions, and I'm like, no, I'm a soldier supposed to be killing everything. I'm not a stealth guy.
Right.
Right.
I don't know how many times I have to explain this. I don't sneak around. I kill everything.
Yeah. If you're like a lone commando.
In games, I'm not a psycho.
if you're kind of like a lone
In-game.
commando. Exactly. Yeah. If you're like a lone commando kind of like situation, like I could see that more, like, you know, say like in Splinter Cell. You know, like if you're just like by yourself, just trying to do like these very sensitive kind of like missions, that makes sense with stealth. But yeah, if you're doing like team kind of stuff, doesn't really make too much sense.
I mean, I just prefer it to be optional and not required.
Exactly. Yeah. And
Yeah.
that's what they're trying to do with the new Deus Ex game as well.
Yeah,
Like,
and I like that approach. I saw footage from that game, and it looks phenomenal.
yeah.
I am a little sad it got delayed to, like, what, August? But, I mean, that time's going to be invested to make the game incredible. So
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it.
Absolutely. So moving on to the rest of the show here, we're going, you know, with this being at the end of 2015 now, we're going into like our personal games of the year. So first off, like what impressed us most, like in the year, and then after that we'll kind of talk about like what we played the most, and also like what game that we missed out on that we kind of want to go back to. You know, like what's everyone talking about? This is like, well, I missed out on that. So so as far as like what impressed you most about the gaming in 2015, Kinsey?
Well, I was thinking that 2015 was my year of I'm gonna get obsessed with this one game and play it for 300 hours.
Let me guess.
like-
Forza? No.
That's what like.
Fallout.
That's what 2015 has been for me. Like, it happened. So when 2015 started, I was still playing Dragon Age Inquisition.
Mm-hmm.
So then I was like still playing that forever and ever and ever and ever. And then The Witcher 3 came out. And then I played The Witcher 3 forever and ever and ever and ever and ever and ever. I actually had to like beat The Witcher 3 so I could start Fallout.
Yeah.
Like that's how much I played it. It was ridiculous.
Mm. Yeah, I was trying to go through like New Vegas because I never played through like New Vegas like before. I was trying to play that before Fallout 4, but
Yeah.
it's got like sidetracked by like so many different things. Like I can't like concentrate on like the one game like trying to beat before freaking Fallout. I play I play like New Vegas like a bit, but then like Fallout 4 dropped and like gotta play it now. Like there's nothing else matters with Fallout 4. So
I did the same thing with New Vegas and with Fallout 3. I just played it, and then all of a sudden I was like, and I'm sucked in for the rest of my life.
Right.
Like,
But that's a lawsuit.
yeah, like with Fallout, I got sucked into the settlements real bad, and then in The Witcher, I got sucked into Gwent. Like,
oh yeah, that's the
holy crap!
Is that the card game in that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I haven't played Witcher 3. I own it, but like I haven't played it yet. So yeah. So yeah. I mean, like yeah. Well, as far as like me, like my personal games of the year. I mean, Fallout 4 is definitely high up there. It doesn't technically count, but like I played the most Destiny this year. Like that's probably the game I clocked in the most hours.
That's a time suck right there.
Yeah.
Oh, I did that with Destiny too.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah. I mean,
stupid Vault of Glass.
Yeah, Vault of Glass, Protoss End. I mean, when Taken King dropped, I mean, like it was just like a brand new game basically. So I mean, like, I kind of wanted to add Destiny in there just because of the fact that that Taken King did come out in 2015. So I kind of counted in that sense.
I think because of Taken King, it counts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
that was
I
a
think
big
it does.
expansion this year. And you got to be honest. I mean, Sparrow Racing League. That's a hell of an addition. I just wish it stuck around more permanently because it's going to be gone next week, and it'll be like, I'm just getting the hang of the controls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't even touched like the racing part because of Fallout, basically. So like,
Yeah.
I have like all my friends, like I have like a lot of friends like who I made through Destiny, and like just people who friended me and we just do like raids and stuff together. And like, I like friends of mine just like it's like, hey, are you still playing Destiny? I'm like, nope, just Fallout. And it's like yes, same with me, or like or people playing like Rocket League or something like that. Like just. Some other game just kind of sucked in their time, and like still, we all kind of split it in our own ways. But yeah, Fallout 4 for sure. I'll also mention too, even though it's not technically like the full version of the game is not coming out until next month actually. I played like a good amount of Darkest Dungeon, like at least it's kind of like beta version. That game is so fucking good. I love that game so much. I'm kind of like a sucker for games like immediately if they have like a good voiceover narrator. Bastion was exactly the same way for me. That had awesome narrator. Darkest Dungeon is exactly the same way. Like it's just great VO.
Oh, nice! I love the games like that.
Yeah. And it's it's literally just like it's just like a 2D side-scrolling roguelike dungeon crawler RPG type of game where like if your characters die, they're dead. It's like permadeath kind of stuff. And everything that you do, like the announcer in the game, like says it's like he has like these like crazy lines. Like I won't I can't even like begin like to really impersonate.
We'll be here all night again. Yes.
Yeah, if I try to do that, yeah. But like the game comes out like in its like final like form anyway, like in January, I think January 22nd or something for PC, but as well as for PS4 and Vita. I am going to play the hell of that when it comes out on Vita. That's going to be like the Vita game for me. So, yeah, that game I played a lot of, Fallout 4, and yeah, really good. So, you, Robert, go ahead before I go on for another.
You know what? I enjoyed Fallout 4 as well, but it wasn't quite the time suck for me like it was for you guys. Sorry to break your hearts, but I'm going to mention three games that stood out for me this year. First one's Rocket League. I mean, this game so smoothly blends a new style of sports play that it's ridiculous. And plus, if you watch some of these replay videos, some of these trick shots are goddamn ridiculous.
Oh, yeah.
They're ridiculous, and I try to like replicate them, and then I make some of my own, and I'm like, I love this game. And it's so much fun in multiplayer. Even if people are just goofing off, it's just so good. And then later in the year, they added like a hockey variant, and it's just as much fun. I mean, Psyonix... This isn't an original game. They did like Supersonic Battle Cars a few years ago, and that didn't get any attention. But Rocket League, I guess, being tied into PlayStation Plus, everybody played it and everybody loved it.
Absolutely.
So I think that was the smartest business move of the year, by the way. So I really enjoy Rocket League. It's going to be a great game for years to come, I think, and we're going to see a lot of additions. Hell, we saw some this year. The Back to the Future car, the DeLorean.
Yeah,
that was great.
That made me want to play it personally. Having like the DeLorean in the game was fucking awesome.
Well, if I get up to 88, can I teleport across the field?
Yeah, you're right.
You better be able to.
Yeah. Exactly. The second game I want to bring up, this was overlooked by a lot of people because it was exclusive to Xbox One, but I thought it was amazing regardless. Rise of the Tomb Raider.
Yes.
This is one of my favorite games of this year. I mean, Crystal Dynamics did so much based on the theme of the original. They expanded it so much, a lot bigger action, a lot more elements, a lot more open world stuff. The challenge tombs themselves, that's significant replay value because you getting through all of them is ridiculous. It's just nuts how much work you have to put into the game, but you're so rewarded. Like, it really sets the bar for action adventure games. I was really pleased by its quality and everything like that. And a lot of people bitched it out, like I said, because it's only on Xbox One or Xbox 360.
Right, yeah.
It'll be
For now.
Next year. It'll be PS4 and PC next year, and it'll be great there.
Yeah.
So I really think this is the game that's going to help push the Xbox One. I mean, Halo 5 Guardians was great, Forza 6 was great, and it's Forza, not Forza, Dave. I know how to pronounce that. But, you know, no. But Rise of the Tomb Raider was phenomenal. It's a great get from Microsoft and one of the year's best games. I absolutely love it. And I look forward to a third one, even if it's multi-platform or not. It's going to be amazing. And the third game, this actually came out this month, Just Cause 3. I love Just Cause 3. I mean, it has its fair share of, the slowdown and everything because too much is happening at once. But let me ask you this: what other game lets you have this sort of creativity and destruction? I mean, I'm grabbing helicopters with my grappling hook and dragging them down to the ground and watching them explode. I'm tying together like a plane, driving it into an enemy camp while parachuting down, shooting everybody, then hooking somebody up to a car, then making the car go off the cliff and watching everything explode in the process. This is just an example because it can go any number of ways in terms of the level of destruction in this game. It's so satisfying. And Avalanche Studios, I know they were busy this year. They also did Mad Max, which was a pretty good game in its own right. So they've been quite busy, but the fact that they saved this level of destruction for Just Cause 3 is amazing. And it's a great way to end the year. You know what I mean? If you want to get rid of the holiday stress, just blow up a helicopter. Hey, tether two helicopters together and make them kiss.
Yeah.
Aww.
So romantic.
They'll explode after. It's not romantic, Kinsey. They explode.
It's a love explosion.
That's a love explosion.
The explosion turns into a heart,
Last time somebody told me love explosion, I don't think I wanted to know what it was. But yeah.
Well, now you know.
It's like a band name, at least,
So those are my big games of the year. I mean, obviously I have a big list of favorites. I'm actually one of the few people that enjoyed Battlefront. I thought it was a great return to the series and all that stuff. Guitar Hero Live and Rock Band 4, both great successors in the series. Each of their series, I should say. And Bloodborne, oh my God.
Oh, Bloodborne,
As much as I got my ass kicked by this game, I did enjoy it.
Yeah.
And hundreds of thousands of times I died.
Now
the same thing's going to happen next year with Dark Souls 3. I know.
Now, Robert, like which of those games, like like you mentioned, like a good number of games there. Which of those games do you feel like you clocked in the most hours this year?
Probably Rise. Just with all the challenge tombs, it's ridiculous. Although Just Cause 3 is getting up there with going back and just causing havoc.
Yeah.
Can't resist that. I mean, how many? They have like every gas station I've come across. I don't care what it is. I have to blow it up. Be like, you have no fuel in your country. I'm just terrible.
Now, like as far as like games that came out this year that we didn't get to play, like which ones do you guys like feel like that like was like the ones like, oh, I meant to play that and like came out this year is like you feel like you'll probably come back to like probably like next year or something.
You know what? The Taken King. I really need to get back into Destiny in the worst way, but I've been so busy I just have not been able to devote that much time to it.
Yeah.
I really want to get into it next year, get back some emblems, get back my level up without paying for the $30 to boost. I will boost manually, thank you.
Right.
I really want to get back into that, and I want to finish up some of the quests in The Witcher 3.
And you, Kinsey?
My big one is definitely Rise of the Tomb Raider. I remember when that came out, like, half my feed was Fallout and half of it was Rise of the Tomb Raider. And part of me, I was like, see, that's the smart way to do it. Is play Rise of the Tomb Raider first, because, I mean, Fallout 3 is so big that then you could play both, and it's okay. But I didn't. Partly because I don't have an Xbox One, but I should buy one. I have no reason why I haven't.
Yeah.
And then also the Taken King, because I was so into Destiny. Oh my god. Like, I absolutely loved it when it came out. And it was funny because I have probably, like, ragged on games for the reasons why I like Destiny in the past. Like, well, it's repetitive, and it's this, and it's this, and it's this. But something about Destiny, the way, like, the controls feel, the way it looks, like, I just absolutely loved it. But then by the time the Taken King came out, I was already busy in another world.
Yeah, and the thing with like the kid when the Taken King came out, like or was about to come out, like I was kind of keeping like close tabs with it just because I was just like that ingrained with like Destiny, like even like keeping up to date with like PlanetDestiny.com and everything, just because like I know all the latest stuff with it. But with like the Taken King, like I knew like I was keeping up to date with all the little changes that they were making, and they were making like a lot of big changes too.
Yeah,
like, this is basically going to be a whole new game of a game that I already love. So it's going to feel like basically playing the game like for the first time all over again. So that's kind of like what it felt like to me, and it was a great revitalization of that game for like people who kind of who like played it since the beginning. But like you said, like with the controls, despite the fact that it does have a very repetitive nature because you're going through like a lot of the same missions over and over, there's a lot of grinding, there's a lot of hoping you get like the right Ingram with the right thing that you're looking for, whatever, like weapons, armor, all that stuff. It's the fact that the game controlled so well, and it was just fun just to play, because the fact that it's Bungie, and Bungie knows how to make a good shooter with good shooting mechanics.
They do.
So I mean that's really what kind of sucked me in, like just that fact, as well as like the fact that like when you like start kind of hooking up with people that do like raids and strikes, and like you know what to do. Everyone has like their role to play and everything. Like like when you form bonds in the game, especially nowadays with like online gaming being so prevalent, I feel like that really kind of carries like the strength of of a game over. So
yeah, I completely agree. Like I don't play online at all, basically. And that game, I played online co-op almost the whole time I played it. I would like not do story missions by myself because it was so much fun to do them with other people.
Oh yeah. Except when you got the nutcases that didn't do anything and just waited around for the loot. You done yet?
Yeah.
One more thing I want to do, just a quick side note. One more thing I want to do in 2016 is make more levels for Super Mario Maker. Because, wow. I mean, some of these levels, these people must have hours on end in which they're not doing anything. Because, seriously, they make some of these bastard-sized levels, I'd be like, why am I dying so much? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There are some really clever levels that I've seen. Like I haven't personally played Mario Maker, but like I'll watch YouTube videos of like people's like levels and everything. And there's some really really creative stuff. Igarashi of of Castlevania fame, he made a Mario Maker level.
And he made a good one, I heard. I didn't see it yet, but I'll have to get the number. It's
basically as close as you can make a Castlevania game, but with Mario everything.
Somebody actually made
that's awesome.
Somebody actually made a Gradius-style shmup, too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, actually, like Gradius-style, with like little boss layers that you had to shoot through. You were riding around in Bowser's little flying thing and throwing. Like,
yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, like I know for me, as far as like there are like a few games like in my pile, like in my backlog that came out this year that I absolutely need to get around to. So, I'll say like two right off the bat is Witcher 3. As well as Metal Gear Solid 5. Now I've like as far as like Metal Gear Solid 5, I have Ground Zeroes. I got like in some dirt cheap sale. I think I got for like $10 or something like that. And I was like, okay, like I'm gonna play this sometime before like Fan of Pain, and I'll go into Fan of Pain. I haven't even played Ground Zeroes yet, and I know it's like a 2 or 4 hour game or something like that. I just haven't gotten a chance like to actually sit down and play it, just because like every time I'm like thinking about it, something else just pulls me away and like just takes up my time. So there will be a time when I go through all the Metal Gear games, because on the PS3 I have the Metal Gear Solid Legacy Collection, which is basically all the Metal Gear games up to 4.
Yeah.
So I have all the Metal Gear games on me. It's just a matter of just playing them.
That's the hard part.
Finding the time to play games is so hard when you're like too busy adulting.
Yeah, when I have settlements to build, I don't have time for other games.
Exactly.
Spirit
But,
30. I don't have time for this.
Right.
One game that I kind of want to give like an honorable mention. I know it's not the best game of 2015.
Yep.
But is Until Dawn.
Oh,
Like that
yeah.
was one of my favorite like gaming experiences with friends of the year. Like we played it in one sitting. Like we traded the controller around. We were basically having like a horror movie party
That's awesome.
the whole time we were playing it.
Yeah, that's really like the way to play that game, from what I hear too.
The true story. I tried to make all the wrong decisions, so everybody died.
Yeah.
I remember I killed one character just because like during the button prompts I basically had like a small anxiety attack and I was like, I can't do this, and then he died.
When you had to hold the controller completely still, it'd be like, I'm fine. I'm fine.
Right.
And to this day, my friends are still like, way to go, Kinsey. Remember that time you killed Chris? Like,
Chris will remember that.
Yeah. Oh, boy. You know what? I want to give another honorable mention myself real quick, and then we can move on to our next subject. Transformers Devastation. Because, for the longest time, Activision was relying on this certain, Michael Bay style game, and Rise of the Darkspark, when High Moon Studios moved on and somebody moved in, it was terrible. It was just, dragged on. So what happens? They bring in Platinum Games, they bring in the 80s franchise, the Generation 1, and they make a kick-ass action game that's sort of like Bayonetta, which is, I mean, it wasn't as sexy as Bayonetta, obviously, there were Autobots and Decepticons, but it was still such a good action game. It was a really good tour de force and a nice comeback for the franchise. And now there are rumors that Platinum's doing the same thing with Ninja Turtles in time for their new movie next year, which I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, the Shadows game, yeah.
Bebop and Rocksteady, But, I mean, it'll be interesting to see what they do with it. If it's anywhere as effective as Transformers Devastation, it's going to be a great game. Because Platinum, they haven't screwed up in a while, and that's since the Legend of Korra. We've got Bayonetta 2 from them. We're getting a Nier sequel. They're working on a bunch of great stuff, and it'll be interesting to see what they do with Ninja Turtles. But Transformers, I definitely recommend. It's on sale like for $25 in a lot of places right now on like Xbox Live and all that stuff.
Yep.
Just get it. Don't hesitate. Have a good time with it.
Sweet. Awesome. So we looked back on 2015, and now we're looking forward to 2016. So we're now going to be looking into like the games that we're looking forward to most that are coming out in 2016, or at least that we hope are coming out in 2016, barring any
barring a delay.
Yeah, just like with the Uncharted 4 delay until April, I believe. So at least it's still like within the year, though. But yeah, so with 2016, what would you say are your most anticipated games? Starting with you there, Kinsey.
Persona 5.
Aha, yes.
Yeah.
You and me both. Yeah.
I'm so excited. I still remember like when they dropped that first trailer for Persona 5 and it was all like the black and red and it was so cool. I basically lost my shit. Teddy!
David would just have that sitting around and be like, Persona.
It's just right there, like.
Terrific!
In case you're just listening to the show, David just pulled out a giant Teddy from the Persona series, and Kinsey just lost her shit.
I'm such a sucker for kind of Atlas in general, but definitely the SMT series. Like, I absolutely love it, and all the offshoots, like Devil Summoner, Persona. Like, they're so good.
Yeah.
And I'm really excited to see another one.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
Oh now, yeah, I mean, all the fans are going nuts for it. So
yeah.
I mean, now now that I own a 3DS, and I know you did a review for this actually, Robert. Like, I actually want to pick up Persona Q. Like, especially since I'm playing through Persona 3 right now.
Persona Q is great.
Yeah. Once I finish Persona 3, I want to go into Persona Q for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, you should. It's really cool. I mean, the only Persona game I think I missed this year was Dancing All Night. And I heard I didn't miss much, but
it's so good. It's so good.
Okay, maybe I did. I'm sorry you didn't bring out Teddy again. Just do this stuff,
That's actually the game that got my girlfriend into Persona. So.
Really? That's awesome.
That's great. That's love right there. That's love.
I mean,
Honey, can I have the system back?
Right. It's like that too. It's like that because like she's normally not a gamer at all. So like I try to find like ways to kind of get her into certain games because I know I have like an idea as far as like what she's into and everything. Just as far as like just media in general. So When I handed her, like, it was like Persona Dancing All Night, I think I had like a review code for it, so like I did a review for the site, and she was like playing it, it's like, oh, just one more song, just one more song, just one more song, and like pretty much everyone who played Persona 4, she fell in love with Nanako, so she's like just a huge Nanako fan, and we even just recently watched through the Persona 4 the Persona 4 anime.
Oh yeah, I watched that earlier this year too, because I was like hankering for some Persona.
Yeah, exactly. And like, if you don't want to play through like 100+ hour game, then you just watch the anime. So.
There you go.
It's pretty much the exact same storyline. So yeah.
See, I'm a sucker for the Persona 4 arena games myself, especially Ultra Rares.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So this kind of became into a Persona podcast.
I know. Persona 3.
Hi, everybody.
Yeah.
Persona 3 is my absolute favorite. It's so stinking good.
Yeah, I like the I like the way that they call it the personas with the gun evokers and all that. It's pretty cool.
Now, are you looking any forward to any games in 2016 that aren't named Persona?
Good question.
Actually, you know, I'm like fangirling so much inside that they're coming out with a new Katamari, but part of me is so sad that it's not on the PS4 and it's Android and iOS.
You know, they're talking about bringing back a PS2 Katamari Damacy for PS4. Because PS2 games are coming out like crazy for PS4 nowadays.
Yeah, but see, the big thing is with that is I have it.
I know, but...
It's like right behind me on the shelf. Like,
look, beats nothing.
That's true, but like, Beautiful Katamari and Katamari Forever were so good. Mm. And Katamari Forever was beautiful when it was all like wonderful and cel-shaded.
Are you going to cry?
Maybe.
Just might.
Katamari.
King of all cosmos, damn you!
That's awesome.
But yeah, they went from touch my Katamari to tap my Katamari, so
yeah,
they're getting pretty sexy.
They are.
Stroke my Katamari.
Oh, that's a PlayStation Move game.
Yeah. This gets to the point where you roll your old Katamari, pretty much. Alright.
But I'm also definitely looking forward to like some of the bigger titles like Uncharted, the new Witcher 3 expansion, Blood and Wine, so it's gonna be a good year, I'm thinking. And
I think so too.
Then this time next year you'll be like, Kinsey, what are you playing? I'll be like, Fallout 4.
Persona 5.
Yeah.
For real.
She'll just carry around like a Teddy costume and wear it all the time. I'm ready for Persona 5.
For real.
Awesome.
So Robert, do you have any particular games?
My tastes are a little more diverse. I'm sure Fallout. I'm sure Persona 5 will be just fine. Damn it, Kinsey. I think the big one for me is Star Fox Zero. I played it a while back, and it was pretty awesome. I was a little sore that they delayed it and replaced it with the really average version of Mario Tennis. But, I mean, we're going to get it in April, and I think it's going to be a great game, really kick-ass. I'm looking forward to that. I want to give a shout-out to Overwatch, because they're bringing it to consoles, and from what I saw, Overwatch looks like a lot of fun.
Overwatch looks like it's going to be my new Destiny when it comes out. I'm so excited for that.
It'd be like, people at Bungie be like, damn it!
Stolen right from us.
I think Battleborn is going to be something really cool.
I love the way it looks.
I do too, and I like the fact that it's got sort of like Borderlands style elements of gameplay, but doesn't require you to have co-op to win. You know, it really looks a lot more balanced and stuff like that. So I think that's going to be fun. I'm looking through my list. Sorry, Deus Ex, obviously, Mankind Divided. It's going to be a big sequel, I think. Horizon Zero Dawn looks amazing.
Oh, it looks so beautiful.
Guerrilla Games doing a major job on this one. I'm looking forward to that. Mass Effect Andromeda, obviously. Yeah, but we won't know anything till E3. They'll figure.
Yeah, I'm really excited for that. I'm just apprehensive because I don't know anything.
Yeah.
Well, about Mass Effect, make sure you finish that sentence. Because be like, I just played Persona 5. No, I'm kidding. I want to talk about Cuphead. Because every time I see Cuphead, it's amazing.
I so want to play that.
So much fun. And it's so challenging, too. But it's really cool in terms of like being this cool little side-scrolling platformer with unbelievably difficult challenge. It's like an old schooler brought back. Yes, and I want to see that.
Yeah, it's basically like an old school shmup with like 60s visuals, basically.
Well,
like,
not 60s, 20s.
The 60s to 20s.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, for sure, for sure.
I'm impressed.
Game, David.
Like old,
every
old
single
animation.
time I see that, I'm so impressed. Every single time.
Oh, yeah.
I think Street Fighter V is going to be great. I've been playing the beta, and those are really cool fighting tactics they got in there.
Who have you been playing in the beta there, Robert?
Zangief.
Zangief, yeah.
I got to do
pretty
the
good
pile driver thing, or I'm useless. You know.
I love how he has like the air pile driver now. It's pretty awesome.
Right, exactly. That is very cool. Yeah. Sony, I got to mention Uncharted 4, but I also have to mention Ratchet and Clank. This remake looks so incredible. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And finally, Doom. I mean, I love the beta. I love the way it looks. I love the way it plays. So I'm going to be addicted to that when it comes out too. Oh, and Mirror's Edge Catalyst. I think I named everything that's coming out. But
and this.
No, I'm done. But I mean, we were getting a bunch of great games in the first 6 months, and that's not even counting what's going to be revealed at E3. I mean, it's just going to stack up, and it's going to be a bunch of great games. I need a bigger hard drive for PS4. I mean, 1.5 terabyte, and I got to upgrade already.
For real,
but it's really cool.
I can already just see my backlog building.
Yeah.
I still have Toad Treasure Tracker like in the plastic. Like I still.
Well, if you weren't playing Fallout 4, Kinsey,
I should just play shorter games.
Play for 45 minutes, then go back to Fallout.
I always tell myself that like I should just play like a bunch of like small indie games, and like I do enjoy doing that, but whenever there's like a game that you've been like looking forward to for so long, and you know for a fact it's like 100+ hour game, it's like, fuck, like I have to like play this, you know?
You're gonna dig through it and have fun.
Right.
And there's no way I'm just gonna power through the story mode either.
Right.
No,
that's not gonna happen. Like.
I want to look over this way. I'm gonna look this way.
So, like for me, I'll actually start off the bat like with some games that weren't mentioned, well, except for one anyway, by me anyway. Was like in January is going to be like a couple of downloadable games I'll be getting like immediately. One being Darkest Dungeon, which I already talked about, but another one being This War of Mine. The new This War of Mine, which will be coming out for PS4 and maybe Vita, I think. I'm not entirely sure, but I know it'll be coming out for PS4. Really looking forward to that. I played a bit of the PC version. I gotta play more of it because the more I think about it, I'm like, fuck, I should be playing this right now. It's such a good game. On top of of course, like Uncharted 4, Horizon Zero Dawn, which you talked about. Horizon Zero Dawn really, really, really looks impressive. And I've never really been like a big like Killzone guy. Like I know Guerrilla Games like are like a quality studio, so to see them make a game that's more attuned to like my interest, which is basically fighting robot dinosaurs.
Those are my interests too.
That's lovely. You've got my interest.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm all on board for that. So, and of course, like Street Fighter V, I'm a huge Street Fighter fan. It's probably like my favorite franchise of all time. So, I've been keeping a close eye on with Street Fighter V. Really excited for it, especially with the cast that's in there. Especially hearing that they're going to be adding in Alex and Urian from Street Fighter 3 later on for like the 6 additional DLC characters. I am so psyched, and the fact that you can earn them in-game fight money currency as opposed to just flat out like buying them. You can buy them, but I'm just going to earn it through like the fight money because it it brings that more sense of an accomplishment. I feel like when you get them, and especially for those characters, I've been waiting to play them in a new setting aside from Street Fighter 3 Third Strike for like a good long while.
I love Third Strike, and I don't even I'm not big on fighting games either, but I love Third Strike. I like playing as 12 because he looks like a marshmallow.
Yeah.
All I think is like the Stay Puft Marshmallow
like on top of that,
beating the shit out of Sorry.
But on top of that too, there's also another downloadable game I should mention that I just remembered here. Firewatch. Firewatch will be coming out.
I actually talked to the developers of PlayStation Experience about this. Yeah. It's really coming together really cool. I mean, it looks like one of the better indie games that the PS4 and PC are going to get in 2016. I'm looking forward to it.
That's awesome. Yeah, like it looks really, really cool. Like it's like another one of those kind of like similar to like Gone Home. It's like one of those first-person experience kind of games. Like it's kind of like running around this like kind of seeing like the world and the story unfold before you, but like the fact that it's like you just playing as like a camp counselor, basically, like just running around this campground, like park ground, whatever. You know, and you know, like it seems very run of the mill, but there's like something suspicious or mysterious about like what's going on. I feel like that there's like a lot more to this game than we're being led on to believe. So I'm super intrigued to play through that. On the PC side of things, I'm really excited for XCOM 2. I was a huge fan of like the new XCOM that came out. Like I'm really excited to you know, to kind of get my hands on like the new one that's coming out with you know, the new aliens, new like power-ups, everything with that. And of course, with the new Hitman. Hitman is another huge franchise of mine. Love the Hitman series. I love what they're doing with this new one too, where it seems like it's going to be more online, social, like kind of focused, like where like it's all about like making like your contracts, your hits, and everything. I like that whole idea of it. Like there's a bit of a competitive side, a bit of a you know, like I said, like a social side to it. I'm definitely really excited to kind of dive into that and get involved with the Hitman community in that regard. So.
Yeah, that's cool. Bunch of killers. What can go wrong?
Exactly. Nothing go wrong. Got a bunch of killers together. Of course, Persona 5 too, as Kinsey mentioned, we all our interests with that. So the latest trailer that came out for that, I've probably watched that at least 20 times. I just love the shit out of that trailer. It's so good. Like the music too. It's like pure Persona.
The music in Persona has always been good. When I worked at a video game store, I used to play the Persona soundtrack like all the time, and it was great.
That's awesome. And like another game too, I'll mention here since I just saw it here in the expected 2016 list here is Hyper Light Drifter, which we've had on the cover of Retro Magazine at one point too. So it'll be awesome to see this game finally come out and see like, you know, how it plays and everything. I played it like I want to say 2 PAX East ago. I want to say, yeah. This is a really cool top-down like just action game.
Yeah. I saw one, like, what was it, Android Assault Cactus at PlayStation Experience, and it was a lot of fun, too. I think it's out on Steam right now. It'll be PS4 early next year, and it sort of had the same sort of vibe to it, just like a top-down action game for multiple players. So it was good, too. So definitely give that a shout-out. And while we're talking about Wii U, Dave, did you ever check out Fast Racing Neo?
Fast Racing Neo, no.
You should. It's the F-Zero game we need on Wii U. It's so good. I almost forgot to mention it in my best of games. I feel terrible now.
You are terrible.
Robert, you jerk. But yeah, I mean, there are just. It's amazing how many games are coming out in 2016 that are going to be really good.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I know we're probably going to get a couple of duds, but we're going to get a lot more quality stuff, and I think it's really going to shine through, and we're going to be in for a hell of a year. You know?
Yeah, absolutely.
We're gonna be at Expos. It's gonna be me finding you guys over by the Persona booth in Teddy costumes. What's up, Robert?
Oh, terrific to see you.
I'm gonna stand over here until you change.
Persona.
Right.
But with you know, with 2016 too, like it's worth mentioning that this is going to be more likely than not, like 99% certain that this is going to be like the year of like where VR is going to make like a big splash in the gaming scene. Now, like where do you think you guys like feel like that, you know, virtual reality is going to fit into like the gaming scene? Like do you think how big of a splash do you think it'll make?
I don't think it'll be as big of a splash as a lot of people want. Because I think that's kind of a hard sell for like in-home use, at least for me. Yeah. But I also am like super biased with VR because I get motion sickness.
Okay. That's the thing like worth mentioning actually. Like people who are who experience like motion sickness, even like there are even people like who experience like motion sickness just playing like a regular first-person shooter. Too, right. Like just because the camera movement and everything. So with like VR, I imagine that wouldn't like help it at all, like in that regard. Even people who experience like have like color blindness. Oh, looks like we lost Kinsey there for a second.
Oh no!
Oh no! Let's see if we can get her back in there. Let's see here.
Yeah, she'll hang on. Boy, I hope we get her back.
Yeah, it's all good. I'll like edit around it if I need to. So.
Yeah, I know. think she just might have moved and lost her connection for a minute. I don't think it was intentional.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, there she is.
There
It
you
wasn't.
How dare you? We're talking about games and you would leave!
I got a notification and it said you were removed from the call, and I was like, "What?" I'm like, "She doesn't like VR. Get her out of here!" Like,
Cut it. Cut.
Oh, well.
So, technical difficulties aside.
All right, so what
I
were
believe
we
we're talking about VR. Yeah. So I mean, like with like VR though, I mean, yeah, like for people who experience like have motion sickness when playing games, people who are like colorblind, people who have like any sort of like vision impairment at all, like this is obviously going to be like a bit of like more of like a niche like within the gaming market than like probably people like would like expect it to be if they're not like thinking ahead in regards to what people might be dealing with.
Yeah, I think what it is, it's a hard sell because a lot of people aren't sure about virtual reality technology. I mean, a lot of these companies are trying to stuff, or have affordable alternatives like the whole Samsung thing mixed with the Amazon Cardboard thing for $20 compared to like the $300, $400, whatever it's going to cost headset. Yeah. But I think once you try it, you get a better idea of what Sony's going for. Like, I knew nothing about the PlayStation VR except for specs and everything like that. I didn't get a chance to really play it yet until PlayStation Experience when they scheduled a session to check out 2 different games. Those 2 games were Res Infinite and Job Simulator.
Yes.
And when you put it on, you really start to get what it's about because it is involving. It's an experience that could be surreal if you're not ready for it, but by the same token, you really just see what kind of depth Sony was going for with this stuff. Because I'm playing Job Simulator, and I'm fucking everything up. I mean, I can't get the tower to work. I spill coffee everywhere. I just fired 15 people for no reason. I'm messing everything up. And I'm loving it. The thing that concerns me is if people will be able to set aside space. Because if you play this near stairs, you're falling down the stairs.
Yeah.
So, you need to have the right space made up for it. And you need to get PlayStation Move controllers to really get the most out of it. And I know a lot of people aren't crazy about PlayStation Move controllers. Like, the only use I've ever had for PlayStation Move controllers is playing shooting games on the PS3, like, the Time Crisis Raising Storm or whatever. But, I mean, it's really an involving experience. And Res Infinite, oh my God. I never thought that this game could be brought any more to life than it could, on the Xbox 360 with Res HD. But involving in this virtual world is ridiculous. I mean, it's just, it all comes to life in such a surreal fashion. I mean, obviously, if you have motion sickness or something like that, you shouldn't play this. But I think Sony should do something where promotional, where they let people try it out and everything like that, or they release more videos that show what kind of 360-degree experience you can expect from it.
Yeah,
because it really shows you how involving these games could be. Like Until Dawn, the new Until Dawn game that's coming out for the PlayStation VR, that's gonna make people shit their pants.
Yeah. And that's another thing though with VR, like there's motion sickness, but like also if you have like panic or anxiety attacks, like I feel like you'd be way more like I can't even play games with headphones on. Like I play with the TV speakers.
Yeah.
So like maybe it's just me, but
yeah.
I feel like that'd be way more like anxiety inducing if I'm like that immersed.
Yeah, I mean that's like another thing to consider too. Like the immersion can kind of freak people out in that sense. Like some people don't want to get that in depth like with their games, like where they feel like they're like inside of the game. I mean that was always kind of like something like as a kid I always like thought like when I grow up like video games are gonna be like realistic where you like put on a suit and you're like inside of a room and like the room is basically like you inside of a forest and like now you're fighting people and everything.
And you remember like the old get-ups from like the 8 Aliens in the early 90s where it's just this big gigantic 50-pound headset and this little grid-like thing that you're standing on, and it looks like something really lame from the Lawnmower Man. And you're just like,
and honestly, it wasn't too far off from what they showed off at the PlayStation Experience.
Yeah, I mean, well, the PlayStation Experience is more surreal stuff. They're introducing games, like Eagle Flight looks pretty nuts when we fly around and everything like that. You can't imagine how it's going to
affect Robot Golf.
Of course. Well, Robot Golf will work with PS4 regardless, but PlayStation VR, you're supposoply involved there. You could do the swing, and then you could punch people in the face, and it's really cool.
There's fighting elements to it.
Exactly. It actually involves you more. In Ace Combat 7, I mean, sitting in a cockpit while you play something like that's surreal.
That looks really cool.
So, I mean, I think it's just a matter of Sony needs to take the right approach to marketing it, to make it affordable, to make it something to really show what people can can do with it.
Yes.
You know, like I said
Yeah.
before, I didn't give half a shit less. When I tried it, though, I can see where the appeal lies, and yeah, I'll give it a shot. Sure. Will I have to set up like a rubber room to play it in? Yeah.
Yeah.
Or trip over the couch or some shit like that. But I'll definitely give it a try.
I mean, after playing VR long enough, you probably might need that rubber room for other reasons as well.
That's true.
I'm not the one
here
who
nor
owns
there.
a teddy doll, so don't talk to me about crazy. There it is. And he has the girlfriend. Sure.
But yeah, I mean, like with VR, like I think you really kind of hit the nail on the head, especially with the price point. Like the price is going to be what makes or breaks this thing.
Oh yeah, I mean, if it's like $500, I mean, there's already talk about like the Oculus being like $500.
Yeah,
That's not going to be very consumer. If it's $200, I understand. $200 is reasonable.
Yeah.
$500 is what the hell? I can't even afford this.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
I mean, like, that's happened to game systems in the past where one was just, like, crazy expensive, so the other one kind of, like, won. You know what I mean?
Like the 3DO being $700.
Right.
Yeah, like the 3DO, exactly. And, like, how many people do you know have, like, a laser active or a CDI?
Exactly.
Like,
I know, yeah. It's a very hard sell, like in that regard. Like unless they're able to bring the price point for this thing, and I don't know like how realistic this is, but unless they're able to bring the price point to 200 or below,
Yeah.
it's gonna be a really tough sell because like just people are like thinking it's like, well, I already bought this $400-$500 like piece of hardware. Why am I buying like this peripheral that's basically the same price as the console itself? Like it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Like in a consumer standpoint, you know.
I mean, Sony may take a bath on pricing the hardware cheap, but they'll more than make up for it with software sales.
Right.
And that's what's going to count in the long run. So, like I said, I really hope they have a plan that allows them to do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and like it'll be interesting too. Like if if they end up like as far as like kind of speaking for like our retro audience too, if they end up kind of like having like a retro bend like too, like just like with the Legend of Zelda VR thing that we were talking about, I believe.
I want to play that.
Yeah. Like I'm not sure if you saw that, Kinsey, or if that was something you stumbled across at all, like playing like the original Legend of Zelda on the NES, but in a first-person VR experience.
whoa. I don't know if I want... Oh, like, all I can think about is turning around a corner and having, like, an Octorok, you're like, ah!
It is
'Cause,
literally
like-
that. It is literally that. And like you see like the trees, but the trees are all like in like PDF block kind of images. You know?
That's kind of awesome. A P-hat would look terrifying.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah, yeah.
All I can think of is this VR video where you're playing a Goomba and all of a sudden everything goes black because Mario jumped on your head.
You're right.
Shortest game ever. You're like that first Goomba in Mario Brothers, like that kills everybody.
Yeah. A day in the life of Goomba. It's just like game over.
I know, sad, poor Goomba. Still,
Thanks for playing.
still better,
Credits
better
roll.
that one than the one in the movie. Just-
Right.
True. They got weird faces.
They do.
I feel like VR though like really needs like that game that everyone just kind of clings onto and like knows that like okay, this is the game that's worth getting VR for. And I feel like even if like this is like a big one that like a lot of people are like expecting with the new PlayStation VR, even if they got No Man's Sky, for example, I think to be like a PlayStation VR like exclusive whatever like the game on it, I feel like even that wouldn't be enough. Like it would be a cool experience for sure because like that game feels like it's like built for VR.
Yeah.
But I feel like you need something more. You need something more unique, I think, like actually custom made specifically with VR in mind. Job Simulator is like certainly a good one, but like we've had like Surgeon Simulator and like all these other simulator first-person viewpoint type of games that we can play like on Steam or whatever on consoles and stuff. So there needs to be something that's like inherently unique to the actual peripheral, the device itself, to really kind of get people like to kind of to be sold on it. That and also the fact that people need to kind of experience it to really know what it is that they're buying. That's kind of the big thing for me because like you can't really show VR. You need to experience it, and that's what really kind of makes marketing the thing so tough.
Yeah, I think Sony might have learned its lessons from the PlayStation Move because a lot of those games that came out at the time for it were gimmicky as shit. I mean, Kung Fu Rider. But I think hopefully they learned their lesson from it, and we see more immersive experiences that come from the PlayStation VR. I got hopes for it. Like I said, it's just about how it's marketed, how people see it, and how it's priced.
Exactly.
I just want to see
Those
some
three
sweet
factors.
like retail interacts for VR. Like,
Yeah.
do you remember the Virtual Boy Interact? It was awesome.
Right before it grew up, yes.
Right. Before you get like a headache after like 10 minutes of playing it too.
Yeah, the Virtual Boy, it's so awesome.
Yeah. It's awesome in a terrible kind of way, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, terrible.
And it sucks though, because some games are really good on there.
That's true too. Yeah,
But then they're on the Virtual Boy. Sorry, Wario Land.
Maybe, maybe if Nintendo comes back to the VR space with the rise of VR, they can revisit some of those like Virtual Boy concepts, but in the new VR kind of space. Who knows? Who knows?
Let's burn our retinas like it's 1993.
Nothing like emptying my stomach.
So we are basically like wrapping up the show here. But before I do that, I have one more code giveaway. The promise.
Oh, we have two more because I'm giving away our
two more. That's right. Yeah. Merry Christmas to our retro heads out there. So
yeah. So you do your code first, and then I'll do mine.
Yep. So this is for Yakuza 5. Finally, the Yakuza series coming stateside. This is for the PlayStation 3. So this is a code for Yakuza 5 in the PlayStation 3 store. You want to enter E36L3LNP F763. So that's for Yakuza 5. Long awaited to come stateside. Finally here. Enjoy it.
And let me go ahead and give away my code. This is for Armello for PlayStation 4. As you know, we gave away the Steam version earlier. This is a code for PlayStation 4. And yes, Kinsey, I sent you your version. I would barely give up. The code, this is for anybody, MPFF3ENN79CH. So that's for Armello on PlayStation 4, the Game of Thrones with animals, I guess.
Yeah, you got it. Jon Snow is a rabbit. There you go. Yeah.
Oh, the poor dead chickens.
So that is pretty much Talk Retro episode 18 in the books, and 2015 for Retro in the books as well.
Yeah, we're taking the rest of the holidays off, but we'll be back strong in January with more guests and more madness and more Teddy.
Absolutely. So I have to speak with our editor-in-chief, David Craddock, to see if he wants to host for like the first show of January, because I'll be away in Ireland until January 10th. So I don't think I'll really be able to record like while I'm over there. But we'll see like how early we'll get like the first episode of the year to come in. But yeah, if you want to follow Retro Magazine on Twitter, it's @ReadRetro. For the Retro VGS, or now the rebranded Coleco Chameleon, you want to follow @RetroVGS on there. Also, we're on iTunes, so if you like search on iTunes for Retro Magazine, we'll be the first podcast that you see on there. It's called Talk Retro. So be sure to subscribe to us, rate us 5 stars, all that fun stuff. Our next issue of Retro Magazine is coming out next month in January. So that is the double-sided, double-packed issue that's going to be all about first-person shooters and Star Wars games. So it's going to be really cool. Going to have two covers to it. It's be really cool. And also we have the prototype of the Coleco Chameleon that's like being in the works right now in order to get that ready in time for the Toy Fair in New York. So then that's in February, from February 13th to 16th if you're in the area, which is really cool. So for people who want to follow you, Robert, on Twitter, it's @thevcd.
Yeah, and before we do that, I just got a couple quick shout-outs, if you don't mind. First off, thank you, Kinsey, for finally coming on the show. I know we miscommunicated a little bit last week. Like I said, David's the asshole, not you. And we'll let you give your Twitter thing and everything there, too. But I just want to say to everybody right now, go see Star Wars The Force Awakens. It's awesome. It is such a great movie. I'm not going to spoil it here. I did another podcast with Boston Bastard Brigade. We talked about it there, so check that out. But it's an amazing movie. I don't think you'll be disappointed with it. It's so much fun. J.J. Abrams knocking it out of the park. And I know Kinsey's going to see it soon. So Kinsey, you'll enjoy
Christmas
yourself.
Day. I can't wait. I can't wait.
Yeah.
Take your lightsaber.
And
I will.
I'm at the DCD on Twitter, Robert Work on Facebook. Find my work. I link a lot of stuff everywhere. I'm taking the holidays off, so relax there. But I'll be back in January.
Yeah. And if people want to follow you on Twitter, where would they go there, Kinsey?
I'm on Twitter @Kinzilla, KINSZILLA. And then you'll also sometimes find me on YouTube, youtube.com/MetalJesusRocks. Mainly do all retro, so.
Yeah.
Kinzilla!
Yeah!
Queen Retro herself, like running loose.
Exactly.
Little Jesus.
And she's a girl, not a guy, David.
Surprise!
Yeah, you're gonna have to let me. You're gonna have to let me know the next show you go to, Kinsey. I'll definitely meet up with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yay.
And if you want to follow me on Twitter, also I'm at DaGuiltyMan, so DAGILTYMAN. Yeah, with that, that's Talk Retro in the books for 2015. So until next time, ho ho ho, Retroheads, and see you next year.
What? Teddy's not gonna say goodbye?
Oh, Teddy can say goodbye.
Bye.
Have a terrific New Year.
Kinsey's having a cute attack. Kidzilla's on the loose.
Hi, Teddy.
We'll see you in 2016, kids.
All right, that's awesome.
That was great.